How are you? Welcome to the Durkamania Comedy Wrestling Show, where comedy and wrestling collide for the ultimate grudge match. I am your host, stand-up comic, lifelong professional wrestling fan, Dave Durkin. Joined alongside my nephew, professional wrestler, Kyle Durkin.
What's going on?
And other co-host, fellow stand-up comic and lifelong wrestling fan, Josh Wells.
What's up, guys?
I guess we get our plugs out of the way. I am going to be playing at the Hudson Blue Bar on February 7th, Saturday. That's in Weehawken, New Jersey.
Tomorrow I got my big street fight against Draven West, the jerk from Texas with the big goofy hat. That is tomorrow, January 30th at 663 Kearney Avenue in Kearney, New Jersey. Tickets are $12 in advance or through me, or $15 at the door. Come out and have fun. It's at 7:30, and I'm Jason Cage. Remember that.
And I'll be hosting the Dopeness Comedy Open Mic this Wednesday. The venue's called the Dopeness. It's in Jersey City, New Jersey. Starts at 8 p.m. Free for all. So come on out and join us.
So, and speaking of plugs, we gotta say something. Anyone who watched last week's episode, so our first episode, we did have some technical difficulties. We got cut off the air at the very end. But we more than made up for our technical difficulties. In the second day of the existence of this webcast, I was able to book Jake the Snake Roberts to do a live show with us, which came out of nowhere. We were doing that March 8th at Red's in Carlstadt.
It's a Sunday.
It's a Sunday show. It's going to be...
You have no excuse to not come.
Sunday, we're going to start seeing about 6:30, show at 7. They're going to be... The three of us are going to be there. Our friend Ryan Dalton, who's also a huge wrestling fan, and the legend Jake the Snake Roberts, WWE Hall of Famer.
And I'll be DJing that night, accompanying great wrestling music.
And yeah, literally I went on the internet the next day, just looking for things to do with our show, comedy and wrestling, and I found out Jake the Snake was doing comedy, and that he was going to be in the New York area, and he had like an empty date on his calendar, and I said, what the heck, let's give it a shot. I sent an email, his management got right back to me, and we were emailing all day, and next thing you know, we're doing a show with Jake the Snake.
Are we also going to get like a 5-10 minute interview?
Yeah, we will have an interview with him after, so sometime in early March. In addition to come see us live, obviously, don't just wait for the interview, but then after seeing the live show, you could see us. We'll have an interview with him here, a special episode. And you can get the tickets on Eventbrite, actually. Get them in advance. You can put in Durkamania Presents Jake the Snake Roberts.
There you go. And how much are they?
They're $15.
15 at the door.
15, well, you get them in advance.
Mine should sell out. It's Jake the Snake Roberts.
It's a legend. And so we got to get to, obviously, the big story this week in wrestling, the Royal Rumble.
My prediction was correct. Ultimately, Roman Reigns, but nobody was happy about it except me, apparently.
You probably are the only person.
Probably.
I think children were crying in Philadelphia.
I think more than children were crying in Philadelphia. You saw people flipping them off at the end?
Yeah.
I mean, it was insane. I mean, you could see it coming a mile. I know I predicted Daniel Bryan, but you could still see a mile away that they were setting up Roman Reigns for this.
Yeah.
But you know that something's not right if they bring The Rock out and the fans are still booing you. Like, he is like the anti-boo machine. He's like a magic spell. You put on a booing crowd and they just shut up and they cheer, and it didn't work this time.
And they were, I don't know if that ending was planned or not, but they were actually cheering for Rusev.
They were
saying, we love Rusev. Now, I don't know if that was supposed to happen or if that was an accident.
I think because they knew he was still like under the ring or whatever. I didn't even know he went under the ring.
Well, yeah.
And then when he came in, the place exploded.
Right.
I mean, it would have exploded for anybody at that point. That crowd
probably
wanted anybody but Roman Reigns. I think it, and building up, they did. WWE didn't do a lot to help themselves to be well received with that result. The whole Big Show and Kane double teaming everybody and throwing everybody out. Nobody wants to see monsters from 10 years ago, dominating the roster today.
Yeah.
It was the Daniel Bryan thing. Obviously, he got eliminated so early.
That was the worst part of all of it.
here's the thing. I think Philly really showed what a strong crowd they are, because when it first happened, I was like, oh, I get it. They get rid of Daniel Bryan early, and maybe the crowd forgets about him. And Philadelphia did not forget. They were booing for about 45 minutes, except for like maybe when DDP came out, and you know,
that was good.
Mizdow got a nice pop. No results from that.
Yeah, his little scheme that he pulled in the Rumble, that was actually pretty clever. But ultimately, do you think we'll see him against the Miz at WrestleMania?
Miz at WrestleMania?
Miz.
Oh, against? Oh, yeah.
That could be moving that way. It definitely looks like a break.
I say save it for that. I hope they don't waste that on Fastlane. It's gone on long enough now. You might as well lengthen it out. You know, you give us the big payoff at the big show. Mizdow, no matter how much fans might not like the WrestleMania crowd, I'm not saying they won't. I mean, there's still a lot to be determined with the card between now and then. But no matter how the card shapes up to be, Mizdow is guaranteed, like the crowd sensation. Yeah, it's going to be a time for the fans to have fun. So I think, they'd be foolish not to.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. And I think the biggest pop of the Rumble was, of course, Bubba Ray Dudley returning.
Bubba Ray
for the first
in
time
Philadelphia.
In Philadelphia.
You talked about that. But I think what you're saying, Daniel Bryan, I think that was the worst part of all of it. I think Roman Reigns winning would have been okay. I think the problem is, to me, they were the only other person, maybe Dolph Ziggler. Those are maybe the only three guys that could have won.
Well, I just think the fans would have appreciated more if maybe there was like a Final Four. Maybe it was Bryan, Ziggler, maybe Ambrose.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It took out like any drama because he was gone, and so then you said, okay, now it's like 95% chance going to be Roman Reigns, maybe like a 5% chance it's going to be Ziggler, and this is halfway through the Rumble. It's not with like three guys left, so then you had basically, like you said, 45 minutes of like, we know how this is going to end. And I think that's
we don't
what
like it. And the thing is, a lot of WWE fans have been making it clear well in advance of the Rumble that we don't want Roman Reigns.
Even after, they were like barricading outside, so the fact that the wrestlers couldn't get out of the arena.
I think that's where like I draw the line.
That's Philadelphia.
I'll boo you in an arena, but I'm not going to lock the talent in the locker room. It's like, okay, guys.
He had to be out in the arena until like 2 a.m. Until everyone was gone.
That's insane.
That was it. And then Dolph Ziggler was really a small part of it. He came very late.
Number 30.
Was he 30?
Yeah.
He kind of came in and hit everyone, and then he went out pretty quick.
I thought he would have been.
He was probably only in about 3 minutes or so.
I also thought Ryback's exit was pretty quick.
I'm sorry.
Well, I was just gonna move from Ryback to Bray Wyatt. I thought actually Bray Wyatt was actually my favorite part of the Royal Rumble.
Right. I agree.
I thought he had that monster run where he was, I mean, granted, he's thrown over guys like Sin Cara at one point, but when he grabbed the mic and he cut a promo and the crowd started singing with him, I was like, yes, this is the Bray Wyatt, this is the monster. I feel like he hasn't been that monster for a while. I feel like he kind of lost some of his edge, but I think he got it back in the Rumble.
When he did that promo, was that when the Boogeyman came out?
I think it was. I don't know if it was before. I can't remember.
I think it was after, but it was cool to see him again too.
Him and the Boogeyman, and that was great. Boogeyman tried to freak him out, and then Bray Wyatt showed him. I'm the scary guy in the WWE right now. So that was a fun thing for the fans. The Boogeyman.
Well, same with DDP throwing a few cutters.
Yeah,
that was awesome to see.
The one thing, because I had talked about last week, I wanted to see a Shield triple threat at WrestleMania. They sort of hinted at maybe a Wyatt family triple threat. At one point, all three of them were in there, and kind of, that would be an interesting thing if that worked. Obviously, they've been doing Harper Rowan for a while now. That would be interesting if somehow they could work out a triple threat between the Wyatt family members.
Yeah, because I think the last month they were kind of losing an edge with Bray Wyatt storyline-wise.
Absolutely.
To me, I think there's a link between Roman Reigns winning this and what's gone on with Bray Wyatt. Because I think that the WWE has kind of said, like, we've written a script, and this is the script we're sticking to. In the past, we went to Extreme Rules last year. And probably at the beginning of the match, even, Bray Wyatt and John Cena was almost 50-50.
That was a cage match, right?
They had a cage match with a little cage. Even in the beginning, it was almost 50. And then after he won, I mean, that whole arena was singing, "You Got the Whole World." And you remember, I said to you that night, they're going to have to do the Stone Cold thing where he's supposed to be the bad guy, but he's so popular the fans are,
And
that
still
they're going to have
He
to
won't
change
be
him.
denied.
But they didn't. Instead of doing that, they did the exact opposite.
They cooled him off.
Well, at first, but then they tried to make him more evil. They did the thing. He came out. He said he was a god. Then he attacked Jerry Lawler, and they did the whole he's got a heart condition, and even JBL jumped in, to, saying, "Oh, this is too far."
Yeah.
Like it was almost like saying, like, this guy's evil. Whether you have to think this guy's evil
Right.
because we want you to think he's evil. Yeah, and then they made him like a mid-carder when that didn't work. And it's the same with Roman Reigns to me. It's like they decided when they split up the Shield, we're going to have Brock Lesnar be this, guy on this top that nobody can knock off, and Roman Reigns is going to be the guy to come along and do it and be the next Hulk Hogan guy. And along the way, the fans haven't bought it, and they're not listening to the fans. They're like, we're still doing this thing that we decided a year ago,
I feel like they're going to have to do something with that main event.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I feel like shades of when Brock Lesnar fought Bill Goldberg, Goldberg many years back,
yeah.
and the fans just destroyed that match. I think that could happen again if they don't find a way to. I don't know what to do. Throw Seth Rollins in the mix somehow again.
That's another thing. The title match. That was a great, amazing.
Yeah.
match.
That was an amazing match.
That was a great match.
Yes.
Yeah, the Rumble was disappointing, but the title match was great.
I feel like my boy Seth Rollins. I've been big on Seth Rollins
Yeah.
since day one. I feel like that was his night. That was he really showed his worth to.
Oh yeah.
To
He's definitely the next
fans
big thing.
everywhere.
Definitely.
I saw an article on Instagram. It was talking about part of the Roman Reigns thing. It wasn't entirely his fault. A lot of it started when he got injured,
It
because
probably has something to do with that, I think.
because before he got injured, he didn't really go on the mic too much. He would come in and have his big, and then they had to have him do interviews just to stay relevant, have him on
When he
television.
wasn't in action yet.
Yeah,
But,
and that's when everyone started recognizing, like, this guy's not that good on the mic.
It started at the Slammy Awards, I think, when he won, he gave his little speech. Remember that? I think that's when they started giving him a microphone, the week after
Yeah.
that.
But the other thing is that Dean Ambrose and Dolph Ziggler, I think, got more popular than they ever figured on. I wonder if originally maybe that cage match between Ambrose and Rollins was supposed to be Reigns and Rollins, and they had to switch it up and make it Ambrose and I wonder, the Survivor Series thing.
Almost like he was their reluctant main eventer.
Yeah,
One pay-per-view.
and then the Survivor Series with Ziggler, where it was 3-on-1, and he came back and won it. Maybe that was originally supposed to be Reigns.
Spots, maybe.
Yeah, and these guys got the spots, and they became more popular. Like, I gotta say, I don't know if this is everybody, but I thought when the Shield split up, I thought that Dean Ambrose was going to be like, the Road Dogg Jesse James when DX broke up. Like, he was just going to become this forgotten thing. I can't believe...
a one note.
Yeah. Like, he's just going to drop out and be this mid-card, and it's been the other way around. It's been Reigns has dropped off, and Ambrose is, like,
I think
main eventer.
Ambrose plays that anti-hero very well, and I think WWE is lacking that right now since the exit of CM Punk and before CM Punk was Edge. He's always been
this guy.
Yeah, absolutely. There's always been a counter hero, the badass that he's not Clark Kent. He's more Batman.
That average guy that's at home.
Right.
Everyone wants to relate to.
So I think, and I could see maybe how WWE didn't see that coming, but also it makes you wonder, like, fans gravitate to a guy like this who acts crazy but plays the hero stuff.
Mm-hmm. Now, I have one idea for maybe how they could try to, because they got to do something, like you said.
Right.
Either in that match or before it. I had it, because Randy Orton is due to come back, and I had a thought of Randy Orton attacking Reigns and kind of being like, I never got my rematch after I lost the title at WrestleMania. I should get a rematch before him. And then maybe Seth Rollins saying, no, but I got the Money in the Bank. I want my title match. And I know they just did a triple threat match. But I could see maybe if they did a Fastlane, Randy Orton, Seth Rollins, and Roman Reigns triple threat, and the winner gets Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania.
Yeah, I know.
Something like that to give something for Reigns to
of the three of those guys, who would you give it to? I don't. Would Randy Orton?
Well, I think
people were looking forward to a Randy Orton main event last year, so
no,
I almost felt like there would be trepidation to give it to him.
I don't know if they would let him have it again at WrestleMania main event. I think they would give it to one of the younger guys.
No, I mean, I think they would still give it to Reigns, but I think maybe, I mean, if they want to win the fans over to Reigns, because Randy Orton's not really a likable guy. I don't think people are going to cheer for him too much, and Rollins is the number one bad guy. Yeah, I see. I don't like that idea. I mean, there's so many faces now, though. With like we said, Ziggler, Ambrose, Daniel Bryan, and even Ryback. Like,
well, there could be a potential Ambrose heel turn. I heard. I read something like that online. They're going to do a thing with him against Ziggler, maybe.
Well, yeah, I've heard they're talking about Ziggler and Bryan for WrestleMania. That was all over the internet
To be fair, I'm not sure how much it's based. Dolph Ziggler sent out a tweet jokingly to Bryan saying, "I heard something along the lines of I heard you're looking for a match at WrestleMania at Daniel Bryan."
I didn't see that.
And Daniel Bryan responded something positive to it.
Game.
Yeah, exactly. You know.
So it could be a goof. Yeah.
I'm not sure if those tweets are still there. I do remember at one point on my I logged into Twitter and it was there clear as day. They were chatting with each other on my Twitter timeline, and I was like, "Oh, that's interesting."
Well, another thing that's sparking between Fastlane and WrestleMania is Triple H. He's got his little feuds going on with The Rock and Sting. It's already been called. It's him and Sting. He wants Sting and Fastlane, and they're kind of hinting at one more WrestleMania for him and The Rock. And at Royal Rumble at the end,
he wants a showdown with Sting at Fastlane. I don't know if we're gonna get a match out of that though.
Yeah, maybe it's gonna be the first time Sting speaks on.
Oh, is that what it's gonna be?
Yeah, I think it's more like a face-to-face. Interview, maybe they'll end up doing Jericho or somebody like a
I think
highlight reel with him. Or
I think Sting Triple H is a safe, good bet for Mania. I think Triple H, when he wants to, he can still go in the ring.
Oh, yeah.
Sting's gonna need a guy who can sort of carry a lot of the load of the match. When people were making noise for a Sting Undertaker match, as much as fantasy booking wise, that sounds awesome.